Hello everybody, this is HG Shaves here. I'm back with the video. In today's video, we're just going to be doing a simple shave. I'm going to talk to you about a couple new products. But before I forget, let's go ahead and reveal the giveaway winner from last week's video where I did the best of. Thank you for everybody who commented and said if you're in or not in. I appreciated that help. And I think I got everybody properly entered into my spreadsheet. So let's go ahead and see who the winner is now. Congratulations to the winner. Please make sure you get in touch with me via my email. Just send me your info and then we'll be good to go. For today's shave, I'm going to be using a few products that are either on loan or were kindly gifted to me. Starting with the Supply 2.0 stainless injector razor. Thank you to my friend who's loaning this to me at the moment. And this is my second ever run with injector razors. I had previously used some of the vintage Schicks a few months ago. I didn't really quite get along with them very well. I found they were kind of difficult to load the blade with the injector key, and they were kind of mild. So one thing that I do really like about this design is that you can unscrew the head and you can install the blade manually without injecting one in, which if you have any experience with injectors, you know it's surprisingly difficult to get the if your razor is empty, there's no blade in, it's really difficult to get that first one in cleanly. And so you'll either have to like waste a blade or try to enter it manually, which is what I did with this one. This is one of the Schick injector blades. So I'll be talking more about that as I go. And then now for the soap, I have it smushed into my bowl here. This is the Barrister Mann Soft Heart Sandalwood soap release, which came out a number of weeks ago. And I'm sort of giving Sandalwood another trial run. I didn't really like Sandalwood for a long time when I first got into shaving. And I think that was because the Sandalwoods I were trying were not really authentic Sandalwood scents. Like, for example, Taylorville Bond Street Sandalwood is not Sandalwood at all. It's more like a fougere than Sandalwood. However, this is a straight up Sandalwood fragrance. It's got kind of the earthiness, the woodiness, and it's also got some nice sweetness to it. And there is a little bit of the Mysore, I think that's how you say it, Mysore Sandalwood, which is a note that I've also smelled in some other Sandalwood fragrances in wet shaving. And I'm starting to think that I really like that, that particular blend, that particular style of sandalwood, which I believe comes from the South Asian continent. Here it's very common over there. And so anyway, that's the soap. And I'll be using a little Proraso red aftershave, the Sandalwood aftershave, which is also a gift to me. And I've never used that before. For the brush today, I'm just gonna let some water out of it here. This is recently acquired Decoration Grooming Jefferson Darkfall with a B8 knot. Thanks to my friend who sold this to me. This is very similar to my 24mm B8, except it's just a bigger knot, and it's very jelly soft, all those things. So I've been pleased with it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start loading the soap here out of the bowl, and I'll bring you back in when I'm about to start my face lather. Okay, we got the brush pretty fully loaded up here. I'm gonna just sprinkle a little water on top, and let's get into it. So to talk to you a little bit about the soap, Will of Barrister Mann has been doing these soft hearts, I think, releases for a good while now. It's basically, he said it's a chance for him to try out new scents, bring back old ones without committing to, you know, his usual kind of batch size, which would be much larger. These are limited quantity releases. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's just only like a couple hundred soaps that he will make for these batches. And I've been wanting to try this base for a while because it is a very soft base, and I'm not the biggest fan of the Reserve or Excelsior bases. I just find them a little difficult to work with most of the time. And so this is the same ingredients list as Excelsior, but due to the difference in ratios, this results in a much different soap feel. And it definitely, you know, it totally changes the consistency for one. This is a very soft, almost cream-like soap, whereas Excelsior is more kind of, I don't know, mid-firm or something. And so, yeah, this base has been really nice to work with this week. I haven't found it difficult. Just kind of load, work it up, add a little water, and that's the extent of the complexity. And this sandalwood accord that he's made with a couple different types of sandalwood, I think is wonderful. And if I have the opportunity to pick this soap up on the used market in the future, I think I definitely will. So I'm going to keep lathering this in, and I will bring you back when I'm ready to shave. All right, let's go first pass with the supply here. So this razor is, in my opinion, very easy to use, easy to find the angle. And I should mention, this is the medium plate, the 2 plate, I guess you could call it. And from what I hear, this is kind of the preferred plate by most people. It feels very safe in use. And yeah, I think it would make a great option for someone who was trying, I guess you can't call it DE shaving, but well, single edge shaving. This would be good for a beginner. The only question I guess I've had about this razor is it actually efficient enough? It feels so mild that it has made me wonder if it's efficient enough. And I haven't really been able to adjust my angle that much to kind of get me a more aggressive shave. For me, it's just kind of mild, no matter how you hold it. Which isn't a bad thing, you know? Which is why I'm testing it out today on 2 days growth, because previously I'd only shaved every day. And so we'll see how close this can get me after 3 passes. Of course, there is technique to consider too. I'm not experienced with injectors. It's possible that I'm doing something questionable with my technique that's not making it as efficient. But usually I have the opposite problem. Usually I'm I'm trying to make an aggressive razor feel less aggressive, not the other way. So I'm gonna do a rinse and then come back for pass number 2. Pass 2. For pass 2, I'm going to go kind of across and with the grain. Okay, nice second pass there. No real issues. I'm going to rinse and come back and get ready for my last pass. Okay, for my last pass here, I'm going to go mostly against the grain with a little bit of across. The only other issue that I was kind of having with this razor was this handle. It's very much, I don't even know what era it is, 60s, 70s. There was PAL, the vintage razor company, they made a razor that kind of looked like this. I believe one of them was a adjustable injector razor. And so while I do think it is cool and fitting that Supply kind of pays tribute to the old vintage injectors with their look, it is, because it's stainless and it's not, I don't know, plastic like some of those old Schick handles are, you know, it is pretty wieldy. And so actually here on this final pass, where I'm mostly going south to north, I find that the handle's not too bad. You can kind of hold it right here in the center, which is basically right near the center of gravity. And this is not bad at all. I mean, it's still heavy. You know, this razor is a little bit over 100 grams, which to some of you may not be a lot, but I usually use razors that are well under that. And then going across here, it's not too bad either, because again, you can kind of hold it in the middle. But it's when you're going actually north to south where it's the most difficult with this handle. However, it definitely has gotten easier as the week has gone on. So I wanted to mention that, you know, because of the razor's mildness, as a result, this last pass is extremely comfortable. Some people say that the best way to judge a razor is how it does on the second and third pass, not the first pass, because the first pass takes down so much hair that the second and third pass are potentially where you're going to feel the razor the most. So it feels like a close shave. I did a little bit of touch up here behind my jaw, which is kind of typical, but under here, yeah, there's a couple little spots. Let's see if we can. Better, yeah. So worked well for 2 days of growth with 3 passes. Totally fine. So I don't think I can say that this razor is not efficient enough for me. I'm going to do my final rinse, and then I'll come back and touch a little bit more over post-shave. For aftershave today, I'm going to be using the Proraso Red Splash, which I had never used before. I used Proraso Green when I first got into the hobby, or not the hobby even, I guess just started using a DE, but I never got around to using the red because, again, I didn't think I liked Sandalwood. Here we go. And yeah, so this is obviously Sandalwood-esque scent. To me, I prefer the Barrister Mann take on Sandalwood. I think, because I think, you know, the Proraso one has maybe a couple more notes in there, or a couple more suggestions of notes. And to me, it just smells a little bit more sweet, but not in a good way. So yeah, it matches fine, and I'm glad to have used it. However, it does feel just a little kind of commercially sweet, if that makes sense. Like it's sweet, but not in a good way. There's a sweetness to the Barrister Mann Sandalwood that is nice and feels authentic. This doesn't feel quite authentic to me, but I'm happy to have used that. And again, I do want to thank again all the people who either loaned me the razor or gifted me those samples. Thanks. So let's do a final recap. The Supply Injector 2.0 stainless razor. Very, very mild and still efficient enough though for me, even on 2 days growth. The only other thing I'm going to do with this razor before sending it back to my friend is I am going to try it with another blade that he sent. I don't recall the brand, but I do know that with Artist Club razors, with Injector razors, some people are very opinionated about the kind of blade that you use, and it does seem to be very hit or miss for some people. Whereas with gems, PTFE is the way to go for 95% of people, and for DEs you have so many options. Whereas with Injectors, Artist Club, it seems like people are a little bit more opinionated. So I do want to give the other type of blade a chance before I send it back. For the brush, the Decoration Grooming Darkfall Jefferson B8. Nice brush, very soft, jelly tips, and not too much backbone, which is very important to me, as you all know. It has plenty. It has plenty of backbone for me, let's say. And then we use the Barrister Mann Soft Heart Sandalwood, which I think those releases are great. They're very affordable too. You know, the soaps are $15, $16 for 4 ounces of soap in a limited capacity, which I don't know how he releases them for so cheap, because that is cheap by modern artisan standards. And then we use the Proraso Red. So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for your comments in the giveaway video, and we'll just keep going. I think I'm going to keep alternating between American and international soapers. So I'm not quite sure which international soaper I'm going to use next, but it'll be international probably. So for now, this has been HG Shaves. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, goodbye.